Go.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, buenos días, bonjour, ce matin. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm your host, Dr. Monikah Ogando, and we are here with Spiritual Matters Thursday. Today, we are going to talk about the 5 aspects of consciousness according to Egyptian mysticism. Some of you know that every year in September, I and my darling friend, Natalie Oliver Atherton, co-facilitate a mystery school tour in Egypt every September. And in my studies with comparative religions, I have come to discover that many of the foundational beliefs and precepts that you see in modern religions have found their source in Egyptian mysticism. So I wanted to give you a quote today. Good morning, good morning. I wanted to give you a quote today to kind of presence that. And that is from the Gospel of Thomas. It is attributed to Jesus. And the quote says, "If you do not bring forth that which is within you, that which is within you will destroy you. If you bring out that which is within you, that which is within you will save you." And we're going to talk about what that means in today's Spiritual Matters Thursday. Welcome. Yes. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Spiritual Matters Thursday. Let's get grounded in today's now moment before we really delve into the conversation today. Andrea, hello, good to see you. Qué bonita estás.
Thank you.
How are you today? What are you thankful for?
I am the way I say I am, and today I'm inspired.
Epa, inspired. I love it. I love it.
And grateful for books. I've been devouring books lately, so I'm grateful for books.
They're good companions.
With inspiration.
Yes, they're good companions. I love it. Chase, where are you? And who are you hugging today?
I am right here. I believe in you, by the way. I heard you humming that little
oh, bit. Yes.
I'm right here, and I'm going to hug a great friend of mine today who is dealing with an ailment. So I'm going to reach out to them and hopefully see them in person and give them a hug.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
A man is rich who has many friends. I love that. Very good. Well, today I'm going to do something that I haven't done before, and that is I'm going to share a graphic with you. Lisette, can you give me share screen options here so that I can give these people a little sneak peek? That would be fantabulous. ¿Dónde está? Share screen. Hey, okay. Can you see my screen, everybody? Okay, you can see it. All right, so let me put it in full speed, full screen. Okay, so let me get into this right quick so that then we can ask a lot of questions later. So I'll go fast, so listen fast, okay? Now, imagine that you are the person in the middle. There's 2 people to your left and there's 2 people to your right. And you are the person in the middle. Are you tracking with me? Okay. So the people that are wearing red, imagine that you in the middle are actually facing us, right? So the people that are wearing red are actually to your right, even though to us looking at the picture, it's to our left, right? But to you on the actual painting, those people are to your right. Make sense? Yes? Okay. And the people that are wearing white are to your left, even though to us, looking at the painting, they look like they're on the right, but to the person in the middle, they're to their left. Okay, that's important. Because when we talk about the 5 aspects in Egyptian mysticism, what we're talking about is that person in the middle, that is you, that is the protagonist, the main character in the story, that falcon-headed god is Horus. Horus. And in Egyptian mysticism, that word is Heru, H-E-R-U, which is where we get the word hero from. That's the hero of the story. And Heru is your consciousness. It is your choice point. It is your personal will. It is from the place where you make decisions. It is your conscious choice making power. Now, the people that are wearing red, you can see that from the outside in, the 2 people furthest out are feminine. And the 2 people next to them are masculine. The feminine holds context. Just like a chalice would hold whatever's in it, right? Water, wine, alcohol, juice, coffee, etc. So in the same way, the container holds context for the content that's in it. Now, the woman that's wearing the red dress, the lady in red, symbolizes your body, your material existence. Her name is Nephthys. Nephthys, and I'm giving you Greek names because those are the ones that are the most popular, not because those are the ones that are most accurate. So the Nephthys is spelled N-E-P-H-T-H-Y-S, Nephthys. She represents body, in timeness, materiality. And if you notice, her crown looks like a chalice, right? It looks like a cup of sorts. Next to her, that short dude with the dog face, his name is Set, S-E-T. And Set represents your personality, your ego, your preferences, your story, all the things that make you separate from other people. So for example, the fact that your name is Chase, and my name is Monikah, is a way that we separate ourselves from one another. It's like this entity over here has this name, this birth date, this gender, this race. These are things that make you separate from other people. That's what Set represents, set apart. And it is also the name that we get for Satan. It is the root of the word upset. So every time that you see any kind of emotional perturbation, anytime that you see any kind of separation, it harkens back to Set, the ego aspect of your consciousness. So I told you who Heru was. He's in the middle. Next to Heru is Osiris. The Egyptian name is Osar, A-U-S-A-R. He's the one with the ornate crown. You can see that it has 2 plumes, 2 feathers. And he is wearing in his hands, he's wearing a staff and a flail. Now, if any of you remember from the last 5 years, somebody who did this, Wakanda forever, it was a nod to Egyptian mysticism because Asar is protecting himself in this way with the staff and the flail. And you have heard in Judeo-Christian texts where it says, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me, in Psalm 23. That's also an Egyptian reference. But that's another sermon for another Sunday. You're not ready for that one yet. So Osiris, or Osar, represents your higher self. It represents the part of you that is in constant communication with divine intelligence. Unlike Set, who thinks he runs things down here, and where we get the word Satan from, the Lord of, the lower regions, etc. Osiris, or Osar, represents the Christ consciousness, the one that is always connected to divine intelligence. It is why in the Bible, Jesus is quoted as saying, I and the Father are one. Okay. And then next to Osar, we have Aset. or Isis. Aset is spelled A-U-S-E-T. And she's the one with her hands up like this. She's kind of like moving the pieces around on the chessboard, if you will. And her crown looks like a ladle. It looks a little bit like stairs, but it's actually a ladle. That ladle goes inside of the chalice. So that when the chalice and the ladle are together, that's called integration. That's called wholeness. That's called the initiated Christ. So the reason why in Egyptian mysticism, we have a Ser and a Set to the left of Horus is because the left represents your spiritual self, your spiritual consciousness, and on the right, it represents your physical or your material consciousness. And so when in the Bible, Jesus has been quoted to say, turn the other cheek. He's not saying turn the other cheek so they can slap you again. That's not what he's meaning. He's meaning turn the other cheek as though look to your left, look to your spiritual consciousness, look to your spiritual birthright. Look at this from a spiritual perspective, not like lay down and get beat up. Child, Jesus turned tables. He wouldn't say that. He had righteous anger. He's not gonna let you just lay down and take it. So this is an opportunity for you to check in with yourself in the decisions that I have made recently. Have I chosen physical comfort as the priority? That would be ruled by nephthys, or vanity, beauty, etc., to be the deciding factor. That would be ruled by nephthys. Have I decided that my preferences and my story and my limitations are what's running my decision making? That would be a Set consciousness. Set says, but you don't understand, I'm a woman. That's why it's hard for me. You don't understand, I'm Black. That's why it's hard for me. You don't understand, I live in America. That's why it's hard for me. Everything is expensive here. You don't understand, I'm blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is that's unique, separate thing that is a limiting belief, that is Set talking. And in the ways in which we make ourselves special out of an insecurity, not special because everybody is amazing and I'm part of the everything, but special like I'm special and you're not. Let me assert my power. Let me assert my value over somebody else. That's a Set consciousness. Okay. Now, there's a very, very colorful story around how these people came to be. Horus is the son of Osar and Oset. Therefore, he is the nephew of Set, because Set and Osar are brothers. Nephthys and Isis are sisters. But they're also husband and wife. Now, that's not a conversation about incest. In Egyptian mysticism, the fact that they're both brother, sister, and husband and wife signifies how they are inextricably tied to one another. It's like everywhere you look, we are together, whether by blood or by marriage. That's the teaching of that. It's not about incest. And so when Horus is born out of Osar and Oset, Set wants to rule the land, wants to usurp Osiris's or Osar's authority. And he's always trying to quote unquote get Horus. That's also where you get in the Bible where Jesus goes off to the desert for 40 days and Satan tries to tempt him. There's a lot of conversations, or there's a lot of stories that come from older religions that when you think about where they came from, it makes perfect sense. And you can understand why certain things got lost in translation. Right? Because it's like thousands of years, culture, linguistic differences, translations that are politicized for a particular agenda, et cetera, et cetera. So you can understand how those things make a difference, but ultimately the message is the same. So I'm gonna leave this up, but I wanna open up the conversation with you about identifying the voice that speaks. One of if you've been here any amount of time, you have heard me say that one of the questions that I ask myself when I'm in a tizzy is who's speaking? when I use that question to myself, it typically stops me in my tracks and interrupts whatever ravine I was going down on. Because there are certain things that you can tell where they're coming from by what they're saying. If I were speaking about limitations and I ask who's speaking, I know that's not my higher self talking, because my higher self doesn't talk in limitation. That's my ego talking. That's my limited belief talking. And then I'm at choice. Now that I'm aware, now I'm at choice. Do I want to keep going that way? Or do you want to orient yourself differently? Because all we are ever doing is managing our orientation. Are you veering to the left or are you veering to the right? It's a moment by moment choice. It's not like you wake up one day and say, okay, for the rest of the day, I'm going to be stepping to the left. So, you know, until you get in traffic. Or until one of your kids is making you late and getting into work or getting into the car so that you can start your day or whatever, right? And so you want to notice, what are the things that throw me off my center? And who speaks? Which one of these aspects of my consciousness is speaking when I get thrown off my center? And how do I get myself to my center? Yes, Cece.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. You know, that is interesting because pressure pulls out for me, pressure, stress pulls out of me conversations that I heard my parents say about stressful situations, like, you're not going to have enough, something like that. And that's all past in my subconsciousness that's running everything, is the conversations that I've had or overheard growing up, as well as I continue the conversation myself. So I choose to take responsibility. And whenever it does happen, I usually haven't done anything, but now that I'm aware, I'm going to just pause and do a husa, you know, like reset myself by breathing and thinking of something lovely, because my normal reaction is to react out of flesh, out of normalcy, which is really abnormal, of, you know, thinking of the past. So to be present, I have to just pause and think about what I'm saying. And then if I let something flip out, then I'm going to rephrase it and say something else that is in alignment with God, like prosperity, good health, even as my soul prospers. So thank you for the topic. I'm working out.
Awesome. Okay. Well, you know what I'm saying? Eat some calories on that treadmill for me, on my behalf, so that I don't have to. Thank you, Cece. Who else has something? I want to see all your faces, but I can't do that while I'm screen sharing. What to do? Somebody else has a comment? This is one of the reasons why number one is I gave you a tip already about asking who's speaking. Another thing that I typically use to interrupt myself when I'm in the throes of my own limited conversation is whatever it is I'm saying, wherever I have used an I, speaking about myself, substitute the I for God and see if it still makes sense. Now I'm going to stop the share so that I can look at your faces. See if it still makes sense to substitute the I for God. For example, if I were to say, I don't have any time. I don't have time to do that. God doesn't have time to do that. God can't afford that. God is sick and tired of your attitude. Wherever you have an I, put God and see if it still makes sense. If it doesn't make sense for God, it doesn't make sense for you. And that is a way that I use to reorganize my thinking around certain people, child, because some people are highly paid consultants sent by spirit to elevate my consciousness. Lord have mercy, right? And so instead of resisting them, instead of pushing them away, instead of maligning them or vilifying them because of my resistance, use your resistance to get curious about where your growth edge is, like to lean into it. It is because I resist you that I want to spend time with you. not get away from you. Because I want the button, whatever button it is that you're pushing, I want it to be flat. This is for my elevation. I'm not doing this because I like you. I'm doing this because I'm spiritually intelligent. Right? And so the opportunity that you have in terms of getting to know those 5 aspects of your consciousness is not to push any one of them away. This isn't to say that set is evil. Because notice, they're all part of your consciousness. They are all part of your spiritual team. Your body, your ego, are just as much a part of your spiritual team as your higher self and Holy Spirit is. And that to some people sounds blasphemous. But it is the integration that we see in many ancient religions, that we embrace the light and the shadow, because darkness is the birthplace of light. Yeah. When the day leaves, the night begins, and vice versa. When the night leaves, the day begins. They're both, they're dance partners in the moving of time. So questions or comments or commentary or resistance or yeah, buts, what you got for me? Are you being confronted with something right now? Who else has something? We could just go, we don't have to go all the way to 9:30. We can just quit at 9:22. That's fine with me. Andre is smiling at me. What are you processing? What are you thinking? Think it out loud.
Hey, good morning.
Hello, Stacy.
What's going on with y'all? Y'all all right today?
All right.
All right. I wasn't on for this whole conversation, but many days I can sneak and listen, and I'm always thinking about you bring this subject up a lot about who's speaking. And I'm always questioning with myself. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
I can.
Oh, you can't hear me. Okay. I'm always questioning myself that same thing. I don't word it like that. And I like how you word it, right? I've told you all before, like I've leaned heavily into the things that I'm comfortable with, like my ability to make art, for example, but it's also the place where I hide, right? Because I don't necessarily I don't have to confront my fears or anxieties or insecurities when I can make art that challenges and make something different. It's almost like, hey, look over there at the shiny thing. It's like, right, ooh, and then I can hide, But in these last several months, I've really been confronted in this way that I can no longer avoid. I got come face to face constantly with, okay, who is this speaking? This is this level of insecurity. This is this thing that I did not deal with. One of the things I've learned is that you get the same test over and over in life until you conquer that test. And I'm like, dang, okay.
That's right.
I was like, okay, let me deal with this and never have to deal with this again. But it's interesting. I like the way you word that, like who is speaking? Because I wonder, is that me? And I'm usually, I don't really like to, maybe I shouldn't internalize it, but many times I do. I'm like, okay, this is not an outside entity. This is something either I've created or I have not dealt with. Right. Yeah.
So what I hear you saying is that it's either an extension of me or a projection out of me, right? So like your art is an extension of you, right? But sometimes some people might say something and you're like, and that sounds like a projection, right? Especially if you're in resistance to it. It's like, when you said that, when you said there's some things that I can't ignore anymore, it made me think of the Fuji song where Lauryn Hill says, ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. I'm gonna find you and make you want me.
Make you want me. Yeah, come on.
And I was like, ooh, if that's not spirit singing to my soul, Lord have mercy. It's like, listen, we're gonna do this. You and I are gonna do this.
Yeah.
It's like the Course in Miracles says, this course is a required curriculum. Only the time you take is voluntary.
Mm. Mhm.
This could take a long time. This could take several lifetimes, but we're going to do this.
Right, right.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
thank you for that. Mhm.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you for sharing that. A lot of
Let
times
me
it's
go
hard to
back
even
hide.
admit it to ourselves.
Yeah, now I'm gonna go hide again.
Who else has
Good,
something?
good morning, Dr.
Good morning.
Monica.
Yes.
I don't know is that you gave me so much this morning
Mm.
because I've been going through some stuff and I did not know where to start.
Mhm.
But this morning you gave me where to start, where to begin, and where to end this torture that I'm going through.
Did you say torture?
Torture. I am putting myself through torture. And why? Is because I normally don't work with my ego. And what I do is question why. But when I question my why, I always wanted to pinpoint what was the reason and what is the reason.
Mhm.
And why I'm saying this is because I live with someone that no longer love himself. And trust me, when you live with someone that don't love himself, and you love yourself so much, and you kiss and it's dangerous. But
For whom?
this morning, you let me know exactly where I should start, where I should begin, and where I should head. Thank you so much. I'm telling you, I'm listening to you, and I will, ouch, ooza. Trust me, you have gave me the answer for that I've been looking for the past 4 months. Thank you
Wow.
so much.
That's
I am
awesome.
so appreciative, and I'm so grateful to be here to listen to you carefully and to understand that you was the messenger. Thank you so much.
All right. Rashida
you so
sounds
much.
straight up and liberated.
Thank you so much. I am so happy. And
Oh,
I'm
wow.
so
Thank you,
grateful to
Rashida.
the ancestor and the universe for you. Thank you very much for the topic.
That's beautiful. Thank
And
you.
for my closing, yes.
I love it. I love it. Ah, I hope we can all take a little bit of that energy. My goodness, that's awesome.
Doc, I just want to say this right quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, the voice that you asked us to ask ourselves, which voice is it? As Mastermind Stacy was saying, that's what stood out most for me also from what I heard today. And it's not a sacrilegious thing to ask ourselves that question and to replace the I with God. If it makes sense for God, then it would make, if it doesn't make sense with God in it, then it doesn't make sense. And that's what I took away from it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it calls you to a higher level of living. I love it. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There's another quote in A Course in Miracles that says, "Nothing unworthy of God is worthy of you." And I take that all the time. But would I invite God to this restaurant right here? Would I invite God to dinner if my house looked like this? No. So why do I live in this filth? Why do I live in this chaos? No, we'll fix this, because I can't have God living like this. And I make a game of it, yes, but after all, it is a spiritual truth. So thank you, Stan, for presencing that. Chase, you look like you got something stuck in your throat that you want to say.
Yeah. I was thinking about yesterday I was in a restaurant and someone sat at the bar with someone else that looked like the girl that I went to prom with in high school. And I went online to Facebook to see if it was her. And I matched it up and I walked up to her and I said, "Excuse me, I'm so sorry to bother you." And I said, "Is this a picture of you?" And she went, "No, not me." And I was like, "Oh, I don't mean to offend you. You're just like a girl I went to high school to the prom." She goes, "Well, I hope she's a nice person." And she went like to this whole other area.
Mhm.
And I caught myself trying to defend my position for like 6 seconds. And I was like, "I'm not trying to disrespect you. You're a beautiful woman." That was a while ago. I don't know. Maybe it's different, like whatever. And she was like, "Well, maybe." And she just kept like that. And I was thinking about what you just said about turning the cheek and going in another direction. And I was smiling and I was there about another 10 seconds. And then I walked away and I was like, wow, I want to manage that if that happens to me ever, which I know I would not have done what she did in that moment, but it was like a quick class. Like, okay, you don't have to be in this energy. Pull away now, walk away now, Chase. And I just walked away and went back to my seat. And I processed it a little bit when I sat down. I was like, what just happened? Like, why did she buy that thing that I was not selling? Incredible, you know? So yeah, I'm just happy I managed that properly.
That's great.
You know, that's what was on my heart.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, because you're right. Sometimes we can let moments like that be like, what? Where did that even come from? And then it kind of like colors the rest of your day. But I'm glad that you're able to be like, hey, new moment. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us. I would love to hear your thoughts on the comments. Go to our Facebook page, comment in there. I have a feeling, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I have a feeling that the conversation that we just had today either is going to give you food for thought, or it's going to perturb, just kind of like how we have turbulence on a flight. It's going to create some turbulence in already existing beliefs. And I want to talk about them with you. I want to massage them with you. I don't want to convince you otherwise. I just want to witness you and be with you as you process whatever it is that you are digesting about today's episode. So thank you again for being with us. Remember to love generously, to laugh loud, laugh like you mean it, laugh with your full body from your full throat, sleep, get at least 7 hours of sleep, eat more plant-based, stress less, move your body, shake your tail feather. And as always, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Always audit your assumptions. We love you. See you next time.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Have a great day.
One love, guys. One love.
Bye.
Bye.